Hello everyone, Dr. Victoria Scribo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. It's time for Tarot-Scopes again. This will be the Tarot-Scopes for the month of May 2022 for the sign of Virgo. This is Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon, Virgo Rising, maybe Pluto in Virgo. You can look at this, which is, you know, pretty much everybody born in the 60s, including myself. All right, so let's take a look. Before we get to the card reading, let's look a little bit at the astrology. This is not a complete look at the astrology for Virgo, just a general look-see. We do have Mercury in Gemini as the month begins. That will go retrograde on the 10th. And it is retrograde until June 3rd. So we do have Mercury either in its pre-shadow or in its retrograde, and then part of June it's in its post-shadow. So we're not looking at like really getting out of that retrograde energy until about the middle of June. And it's significant for you because you're a Mercury ruled sign. Now, Mercury is spending all of its time in the sign of Gemini, and then it backs into Taurus. So for you, it is your 10th house, and then it backs into your 9th house, which is your house of your philosophy of life, your ethics, and the like. It can be traveling, long distance traveling, but with the Mercury retrograde in that 10th and 9th house, you may be having some issues with authority in where you work and stuff, just misunderstandings. It's really important with Mercury retrograde like this to just double check all your, dot your I's, cross your T's, do all that, which is kind of a Virgo thing anyway. So, Virgos tend to be a little extra careful about that stuff. And this is a time when being extra careful about that stuff is actually a good thing. Sometimes you just drive yourself crazy with it, and there's not always a reason for it, but there's a reason. So it's okay. Do your best to, figure out the best way. You just might have to make some adjustments along the way, which of course you're very much used to anyway. We do have Jupiter moving into Aries. That's occurring on the 10th. That's the same day that Mercury goes retrograde. For you, Jupiter in Aries is your 8th house. So this is, you might actually get some money from maybe somebody who passed in your family that you didn't know about. Or it's about initiating new relationships around shared resources. And that might be one of the reasons why you have to make sure your dots are dotted and your T's are crossed, because you might be getting into some sort of agreement, some legal entanglement around shared resources, which of course you want to make sure that everything is the way it should be with those things. Okay. The full moon on the 16th in the sign of Scorpio, with the sun in Taurus, that will activate your 3rd house and your 9th house. The sun in Taurus in your 9th house, and that Scorpio moon in your 3rd house. It could bring up some issues from your childhood to look at, to evaluate, to release and let go. Of course, with the South Node in Scorpio and the North Node in Taurus, it's really all about what's essential in our lives and what we no longer need when it comes to our emotional evolution. And a lot of that has to do, for you especially, with how you think about things and these ideas that you kind of have in your head that may or may not still hold water. So that's something that you have to look at and understand. The sun is in Taurus until the 20th, when the sun moves into Gemini. So we have at the beginning of the month the sun moving through that 9th house. You may have some some trips planned. Again, you just have to make sure that, you know, everything is on, is there can be problems and delays and that stuff. So you want to make sure that the details are looked at. And then we have the sun in that 10th house. And so the sun in the 10th house really brings a lot of energy and illumination to that area of your life. So if you're thinking that you're going to be a little bit of a hermit and no one's going to see you, everyone's going to see you. So you can forget that. And we do have the new moon in Gemini at the end of the month on the 30th. And what that can do is that can really sort of bring in new opportunities at work. New opportunities at work. So I think the new stuff comes in towards the end of the month, while you're still trying to deal with all the details at a time when Mercury's retrograde. All right, so a lot of work ahead, but it's okay. You're used to it. So I'm going to be using the Elemental Power Tarot for the tarot reading, and then I'm going to look, I'm going to go to the Fairies and see what the Fairies have to say. You know, Virgo really is very fairyish energy. You know, the Fairies kind of like do all this stuff in the background, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, how did that happen, right? They're good at both helping us to navigate the world, and they're also very good at tricking us. Especially when we think we know it all. The Fairies will, you know, will make us lose. You know, we have all these great plans. We've dotted our I's, crossed our T's. We're going to go on this journey. You got your passport. Everything is ready. And then you can't find your car keys, so you can't get anywhere. And then you're running around like a chicken without a head trying to find your car keys. That's fairy stuff. Right? They're like, oh yeah, you think you got it all figured out? So we'll see what the Fairies have to say. Before we get there though, let's look at what the Elemental Tarot has to say. This is a beautiful deck. I love the art in this deck. All right, almost ready. Make sure the elements are all mixed up. All right, let's see what we got here, ladies and germs. I shouldn't have said that to a Virgo. Make you nervous a little. Okay, so we have the Two of Wands here. The Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands is opportunities are opening to you, and those opportunities may be from far afield. Oftentimes, the Two of Wands, in the Rider-Waite decks, the guy standing there with the world in his hand, and he's looking out at the larger world. He has his one staff behind him that's sort of connected to the body of the castle, the castle walls that he's standing on. So this is really about having done your due diligence where you are, and now you're looking to expand out into the wider world. Let's see if there is a challenge to that. We have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords. So what challenges that is anxiety. You're anxious, and you know it's an angst-filled world, isn't it? But the Nine of Swords is an energy of mental distress. It doesn't necessarily mean that what you're worried about is real, but it's in your head. So you want to step forward. You want to put your creativity out there, but you're very anxious about it. Let's see what's at the root of this. We have the Ace of Cups. Beautiful card, right? Look at that card. I almost want to say that you don't necessarily trust happiness here. It's like, could it possibly be? Could it really be that good? Like it's you know, having the Ace of Cups at the root of a reading is not necessarily, is usually a good thing, because it's about unconditional love. It's about those, it's about being fulfilled. It's about, you know, great gifts coming. But you have all this anxiety. And so I think that in this reading, in the position that the Ace of Cups is in, is that you're just doubting that you deserve to be happy. Let's see what's in the past. We have the Eight of Swords. So this is about feeling as if you're sort of locked in to a situation. You know, the Eight of Swords in the Rider-Waite deck is the woman with her hands tied behind her back, and she's got a thing over her eyes, and there's all these swords around her. But she's still finding her way out. She's still finding her way out. So it's been, you know, I don't blame you for being anxious. You know, this sense of not being able to move freely it doesn't, there's a part of you that understands that, and there's a part of you that has probably worked with that energy your whole life, because nothing is easy for a Virgo. You know, they're always trying to improve things. And with the COVID situation, it really has been a Virgo's nightmare. Honestly, it's like the Virgo nightmare. Contagion. And so it's almost like you're not really sure that moving forward is even, is it a pipe dream for you? Is it just like, is that, and really the reality is that you there's reasons to be fearful, right? Let's see what's in the immediate. Let's see what's in the sky. All right, we have the Queen of Cups. We have the Queen of Cups. This is an energy of this is Spirit saying we have your back. That's what this is. You will be supported through this. And it may come in the form of a woman. It may come in the form of a woman. So there are people out there to help you to step forward. So there is divine help in this situation. The next card we have is the King of, is this the King? I'm sorry, this deck is a little bit hard sometimes. Let me see here. I believe I have the King here. I just want to make sure. Yeah, so we have the King of Coins in the immediate future. There's somebody there who wants to invest in your idea. This is a good idea. This is a good idea. And it has staying power. So know that there's helpful people around you for this. And so when the helpful person comes, believe it. Believe it. Let's see how it's seen from the outside. Yeah, they think you're a genius. You're a genius. Domestic situation, the Ace of Swords. So that's two aces. So this is all about new beginnings. But the Ace of Swords in the domestic situation says that you need to cut something away. And it could very well be your fear. It could very well be that self-defeating idea that you're not good enough or you're not perfect enough or whatever, right? This could also be legal stuff that's happening at home. So, but it is about truth and it is about justice. We have the Eight of Wands in the hopes and fears. You are full of good ideas, but sometimes it can be overwhelming to find the space for them. It's like they all come in at once. And then we have the Three of Pentacles, which is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful card to get at the end, because the Three of Pentacles is powerfully, it's actually a Capricorn vibration. It's powerful. It's about working with others. So this journey that you're going on is, and then we have the Hierophant, which is about listening to your inner voice. It's about connecting with your sense of authority. and your wisdom, So there is nothing to be afraid of. These cards are very positive for health. What holds you back is your fear. And I'm not saying there's not a good reason for fear, because there's certainly a lot of things out there that would indicate that reasons to be fearful, part one kind of idea. Yeah, so underneath it we have the, what is that? The Five of Swords, the Moon, and then the Two of Swords. This feels to me like what's going on outside. This lunacy, this Moon card, just terrible things. But then the last card that was picked was the Two of Swords. So that will come to an end. But that has more to do with the outer world than it actually has to do with you. Whatever ideas that you have are definitely good ones, and you will benefit from the help of others this month. So that's good news, Virgo. We could always use some good news with that. Now let's see what the fairies have to say, because you know how they are. They might put a fly in your ointment, but we'll see. Okay, where'd the fairies go? I'm looking for see, this is a very fairy thing. They sort of disappear. Just when you think you figured out where they are. Fairies. Oh my God, where'd my fairies go? This is so funny. This is so fairyish. Oh, here we go. So this is healing with the fairies. Oops, Okay, let's see. What do the fairies have to say to Virgo? The thing with Virgo is you guys are so good at everything that you do. And it's because you have a critical eye. You're like, is this good enough? No, it's not good enough. And you try again, and you try again, and you try again. And at some point, there's the analysis to paralysis. That's very Virgo. And you'll just have to let that all go and say, you know what? This is what it is. Put it out there and see what happens. And I really think that there's a lot of support for your creative ideas. So allow yourself the grace of that and trust that that's exactly what needs to happen. Positive expectation. So I think the fairies are on your side. They're not putting a fly in the ointment. They want you to know that how you see things is like it becomes your reality, right? Okay, so let me find what it says here, and I will hold this up. This is a lovely card. It's pretty. Dang. Okay, it says, keep your hopes, dreams, and affirmations, visualizations, and prayers, as it will be wonderfully manifested right now. Don't quit 5 minutes before a miracle occurs. You guys aren't quitters. You've planted the seeds of manifestation with your positive thoughts and emotions, yet you may be discouraged occasionally because you aren't seeing immediate results. You start to have pessimistic thoughts and wonder whether your faith is unjustified. Hold on to your faith, though. Although your manifestation is taking longer than you had hoped for, it is coming to you. Remember, Mercury's retrograde, and so sometimes things get delayed. You certainly don't want to cancel or cloud your manifestations with miscreations that come from negative thoughts. And your affirmation is, I am safe, confident, and secure. I feel joyful about my future. And I'm telling you, according to the cards, your future is bright. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe. You can check out my Astrology and Kabbalah of May. That is out, and my moon shadows with Ona for the new moon in Taurus. It's always wonderful to get together and do these Tarot-Scopes. Have a great month. You guys you're successful. All right, take care. Much love. Namaste.